Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Today I bring huge news for you PvP enjoyers. Not only do we get buffs and nerfs to many jobs, we are getting big changes to both action executions and effect activations for PvP actions, meaning beloved skills such as the Dark Knight Salted Earth has returned. Monks now feel very fluid, and the samurais and warriors are going to be terrifying. This including many more roles. This week of PvP is going to be amazing. Enjoy this video enjoying the job changes in patch 7.16, and I shall see you all in the next one. The Dark Knight has received a damage buff to their limit break, the Eventide. The 8,000 to 16,000 damage range has been upped to 10,000 to 20,000 for action executions and effect activations. Both your Impalement and Salted Earth have been adjusted, and I am already hearing good things about the Salted Earth, feeling much closer to their Endwalker version. Next, the Paladin, who has received no damage buffs. However, both your Shield Smite and Intervene have been improved, and the executions and activations, meaning your stun is more reliable, while also making it easier to pull off the Paladin Bomb once again. For you warrior lovers out there, the entire role should feel much nicer to play, as the action execution and effect activation has been improved for the following skills: Primal Rend, meaning faster stuns, Onslaught, Orogeny, and Chaotic Cyclone, which should feel nice with both damage dealing and self-sustaining. Alongside your limit break, the Primal Scream, and the follow-up action, Primal Wrath, overall making you much more consistent, giving the enemy less time to react and survive. For the Gunbreaker, a boost to our AoE capabilities, and to the stun portion of your limit break. Fated Circle, Fated Brand, and Terminal Trigger will now activate and resolve much faster, giving you more reasons to dive into those large groups, and to back up your Dark Knights. Onto the melee roles, starting with the Monk. No damage buffs this time around, however your Dragon Kick, Demolish, Leaping Oppo, and Phantom Rush part of your melee combo will now activate and execute much faster. This goes same for your Wind's Reply, Rising Phoenix, and Earth's Reply. Nice changes which will overall affect your time to kill as a Monk player. Now for the Dragoon. An issue with the Dragoon PvP action Wormwind Thrust, wherein using high jump directly after would cause the potency of Wormwind Thrust to decrease. This has now been fixed. Both your Wormwind Thrust and Sky's Shatter now benefit from faster activation and executions. Alongside the Dark Knight buff, I am expecting to see many more Dragoons on the battlefields. Onto the Ninja. To begin a nerf to your Doton, reduction to damage taken has been reduced, going from 25% down to 20%, decreasing your overall survivability. For your Dokumori, Forked, and Fleeting Raiju, these now benefit from the faster activation and executions, allowing you to set up the target damage taken by 10% buff much faster, alongside a more reliable stun. Next, the Samurai, which is now a truly scary role, receiving several action and execution buffs: Manayuchi, Hyosetsu, Mangetsu, and Oka, which is your damage boost and stun, and AoE rotation that includes a bind. Next is your Namikiri, Setsugeka, and Keshe Setsugeka. These were always your slower yet harder hitting actions, with Namikiri also granting shields. And last up we have your limit break, the Zantetsuken, meaning you will now be hitting many more instant kills, with much more reliability. Amazing this role got so many buffed, as the Samurai is a wonderful counter to the Dark Knight comps. Onto the Reaper, you have a activation and execution boost to both your Lemur Slice, which is your conal attack that applies bind, and to your limit break, Tenebrae Lemurum, meaning your targets will become Hysteria'd much sooner. For you Viper enjoyers, you are receiving buffs to your limit break. Generation actions 1 through 4 are having their damage boosted from 6,000 to 8,000, with your World Swallower limit break receiving the activation and execution boost, allowing for a much faster opener and a slightly higher chance to kill more targets. Onto range, starting with you Bards. You are receiving the action activation and execution boost to both your Silent Nocturne and Repelling Shot. You will now be able to instantly silence your target, and bind jump away instantly without the risk of dying beforehand. The Machinist. To begin we have your full metal field, seeing a damage boost from 8,000 to 10,000, with the recast timer dropping from 32 to 30 seconds. And your limit break, the Marksman Spite, is also receiving the activation and execution bonus, improving your chance of sniping players across the map. For you Black Mage Overlords, firstly we have your Burst, receiving a damage boost from 12,000 to 15,000. The barrier strength is also being boosted to 15,000, a very nice addition to your survivability. Burst is also receiving the Activation and Execution bonus. You Summoners are firstly receiving a damage boost to your Mountain Buster stun, going from 10,000 to 12,000. And the Slipstream is also getting a nice change. The additional effect that increased movement speed to allies by 25% will now also apply to yourself. Additionally, your Mountain Buster is also receiving the Activation and Execution boost for a more reliable stun. The Perfection that is the Red Mage is receiving one change. Vice of Thorns is now receiving the Activation and Execution boost, so prepare for Red Mage Mass Stun into Dark Knight Salted Earth. For the Pictomancer, we are receiving the Activation and Execution bonus to both the Claude Muse and the Retribution of the Medine, a very welcome change, which goes well with the Picto's recent buff, allowing you to instantly paint a motif after using your dash. You White Mages are receiving several changes. For both Glare Free and Seraph Strike, the text on the actions have been updated. Your Afflatus Purgations have received a healing nerf, going from 6,000 down to 4,000, while the damage of your Glare 4 is receiving a damage boost, going from 8,000 to 9,000. Your Afflatus Purgation is also receiving the Activation and Execution boost to improve its reliability. A dark day for you Scholars, receiving only a healing nerf. To your action, the Summon Seraph. Recovery via healing actions granted by the effect Seraphic Illumination has been reduced from 20% to 10%. Onto you Astro Connoisseurs. Starting with Microcosmos. This has received a small healing nerf, going from a 5,000 heal plus 25% of your compiled damage, down to a 4,000 cure plus 20% of the compiled damage. On the plus, both your Gravity 2 and Oracle are receiving the Activation and Execution boost, overall weakening healing output, but boosting your damage effectiveness in return. And last upon the buffs we have the Sage, receiving the Activation and Execution boost to their Phlegma Free and their Psyche, greatly upping your damage potential. One final note, the same Activation and Execution boost is now applied to both your Recuperate and your Purify, making it much easier to react and survive.